There is a subtle moment that happens very early in human connection. Sometimes it appears in the first conversation, sometimes during the first few weeks of interaction, but once it passes, the direction of the relationship quietly begins to form. Most people never notice it when it happens because there is no announcement, no signal, no dramatic shift. Yet the absence of this moment determines whether a connection grows into curiosity and desire or slowly settles into comfort, predictability, and emotional safety. Dr. Sophia explains that many people experience being valued, respected, and trusted, yet never truly desired, and this often traces back to this invisible turning point. Many assume attraction builds only through consistency, kindness, and reliability over time. While those qualities matter, attraction also depends heavily on timing and perception. What truly shifts attraction is not being told someone's value, but sensing that access to them is not guaranteed. When a person feels that someone has their own life, momentum, boundaries, and direction, something internal activates. Without this awareness, the dynamic becomes comfortable and unchallenging, where one person feels secure while keeping options open, and the other quietly adapts to fit around them. This is not about manipulation or playing games. It is about presence and self-respect. A grounded presence communicates that a person has standards, priorities, and a life that does not revolve around anyone else's validation. When this presence is missing, the relationship unconsciously centers on one person's needs, schedule, and emotional pace, while the other becomes the flexible constant who adjusts endlessly. Early on, there is usually an opportunity to shape how someone perceives you. Not through control, but through clarity. When people try too hard to create connection, they often become overly predictable, overly available, and overly accommodating. This removes mystery and tension. Healthy tension is not discomfort. It is the space between knowing and wondering. It creates curiosity, reflection, and emotional engagement. When everything becomes immediately available and fully predictable, the curiosity naturally fades. Maintaining independence does not mean being cold or distant. It means continuing to live your life authentically. It means keeping commitments, honoring your time, nurturing friendships, and maintaining goals that matter to you. When someone senses that your world remains full and active regardless of their presence, respect and attraction grow naturally. Dr. Sophia emphasizes that people protect what they value and value what requires effort and intention. When boundaries are not established early, a predictable pattern forms. One person becomes the reliable constant who always responds, always makes time, always forgives inconsistency, and always adjusts. At first this can feel like closeness or emotional safety, but underneath it forms certainty. Certainty removes urgency. Certainty removes choice. Certainty places the relationship into a passive holding space where attraction no longer develops because it does not need to. This is why the so-called friend zone is often not about friendship at all. It is about predictability and emotional safety without risk. Once someone believes they will not lose access to you, changing that perception becomes extremely difficult. Any shift later may feel confusing or disruptive because the original dynamic has already settled. The pivotal moment happens before all of this solidifies. It is the phase where both people are still interpreting each other's energy, lifestyle, confidence, and emotional independence. Small behaviors during this time communicate powerful messages. If you continue honoring your plans, respond thoughtfully instead of reactively, and remain grounded in your own worth, curiosity stays alive. If you immediately rearrange your entire life to accommodate someone else, the answer becomes obvious and the intrigue disappears. In real life, this may look simple. You keep your prior plans instead of canceling automatically. You suggest alternative times calmly. You respond when it fits your life rhythm. You remain secure even when someone mentions other options. You do not compete, chase, or overextend. You stay present without collapsing your identity. These behaviors communicate self-respect, emotional stability, and healthy boundaries. People who naturally maintain this balance are not necessarily more attractive or confident by nature. They simply value their time, energy, and emotional bandwidth. They seek mutual investment rather than approval. When effort is not reciprocated, they step back calmly rather than overcompensating. This clarity preserves attraction and emotional balance. Attraction thrives in space, curiosity, and mutual discovery. When everything is offered immediately, there is nothing left to explore. The absence of mystery removes momentum. Dr. Sophia teaches that genuine connection grows when both individuals feel free, respected, and emotionally self-directed. Practically speaking, this means living fully and authentically, keeping commitments that matter, responding thoughtfully rather than impulsively, expressing interest without abandoning self-respect, and being willing to walk away from situations that lack mutual investment. You are not auditioning for acceptance. You are observing alignment, reciprocity, and genuine curiosity. Sometimes even when you maintain healthy presence, uncertainty still exists. You may wonder whether interest is real or imagined. Signals are often subtle and indirect. Learning to recognize consistent behavioral patterns rather than isolated moments brings clarity and confidence. Understanding these signs allows you to move forward with wisdom instead of anxiety. The quiet choices shape everything. Choosing not to cancel your plans, ending conversations with confidence, honoring your values, and trusting that the right connection does not require proof or performance. These moments determine whether you are seen as intriguing and respected or simply convenient and predictable. Protecting this early dynamic protects your emotional future. Dr. Sophia continues by explaining that once you understand how early dynamics form, the next level of growth is learning how to read emotional signals accurately without overthinking them. Many people mistake politeness, comfort, or habit for genuine interest. Real interest reveals itself through consistency, effort, and intentional behavior rather than occasional enthusiasm or mixed signals. When someone truly values your presence, their actions create stability rather than confusion. They follow through on plans. They remember details that matter to you. They make space for you in their routine without being prompted or pressured. Another important signal is initiative. When someone initiates contact regularly, suggests meaningful time together, and contributes energy to the connection, it reflects emotional investment. Interest shows up in how a person prioritizes you when their schedule becomes busy. If attention only appears when it is convenient or when they need emotional comfort, the connection remains one-sided. Dr. Sophia reminds us that genuine desire does not require constant chasing. It flows naturally when both people feel safe expressing interest without fear of losing themselves. Emotional availability is another key indicator. Someone who is interested allows you to see their real thoughts, vulnerabilities, and inner world over time. They do not hide behind surface conversation or avoid emotional depth indefinitely. They become curious about your perspective, your experiences, and your goals. Their curiosity is sincere rather than performative. They ask questions not to impress you, but to understand you. Body language and tone also provide valuable insight. When someone feels drawn to you, their posture opens, their eye contact stays engaged, and their voice softens naturally. These signals happen subconsciously. They mirror your energy, lean toward you physically and emotionally, and remain present in shared moments instead of being distracted or guarded. Dr. Sophia emphasizes that attraction expresses itself quietly long before it is spoken. Boundaries reveal truth as well. A person who respects your time, your limits, and your values demonstrates maturity and genuine regard. If someone pushes boundaries, ignores your needs, or expects constant availability without offering the same respect in return, that imbalance will eventually erode connection. Healthy attraction grows where mutual respect exists consistently. Patience also matters. Not every connection moves quickly, but steady forward momentum matters more than speed. Interest that remains stagnant, vague, or inconsistent over long periods usually indicates hesitation or lack of emotional readiness. Clarity eventually emerges through behavior even when words remain uncertain. Dr. Sophia encourages trusting patterns rather than isolated moments. A single meaningful conversation does not define interest. Repeated behavior over time reveals truth. When actions align with words consistently, confidence grows naturally. When behavior remains unclear, confusion is already the answer. Learning to observe without attachment allows you to stay grounded. You do not need to convince anyone to want you. You simply notice whether mutual effort, curiosity, and respect exist. When they do, connection deepens naturally. When they do not, stepping back protects your energy and emotional health. Ultimately, healthy attraction feels balanced, calm, and reciprocal rather than anxious or uncertain. It creates emotional safety without stagnation. It encourages growth rather than dependency. Dr. Sophia concludes that when you remain aligned with your values, protect your time, and trust consistent behavior over fantasy, you naturally attract relationships that are stable, meaningful, and emotionally fulfilling.